Ends jostling among MPP MPs on who becomes running mate to newly elected flag bearer Dr. Bawumia as calls for him to select an MP from the Ashanti region grows.
All the names I've heard are equally good. I know the Lord will decide.
So who the candidate is comfortable with. And secondly, who can help him, who can complement the ticket. And thirdly, is whom the candidate prefers. And for me, I will support whatever the candidate settles on.
More from Parliament, where the NDC says Dr. Bawumia will have no impact in terms of the votes from that border part of the country.
I believe that if it is about a claim to the north, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama has a better claim to the north than Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia.
He's not coming from the northern part of this country more than Mahama.
This is Top Story with Evans Mensah.
And Top Story is always brought to you by Vodafone. Tonight there is intense jostling among New Patriotic Party MPs in Parliament as to who becomes the running mate to the newly elected flag bearer of the party, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. On the first day of sitting following the flag bearership contest this weekend, there has been talks among MPs from the governing party about his choice, with several coalitions forming to back the various names that have so far emerged, and we'll be linking that to what we saw happen over the weekend pretty shortly. Raymond Akwa, with the political desk, head of research desk, also joins me in the studio with that. But I want to take you to Parliament right now, where my colleague Kweku Asante is joining me. And Kweku, so who are some of the names being mentioned in the corridors of Parliament today?
Evans, 4 names standing out currently. The MP for Mensah and Minister for Energy, Matthew Poku Prempe, the majority leader himself, Osei Mensah, First Deputy Speaker, Joseph Osewusu, as well as Education Minister, Dr. Yawase Bichum. These are the names that have come up pretty strongly. And in fact, today, long before Parliament started sitting, and the MPs started coming in, seeing each other for the first time since the election happened over the weekend, that was the main talk on the floor. You would see MPs congregate in various groups on the floor of the House, discussing what should happen and what pitch they should make to who and when. In fact, some of the talks we've been hearing are whether or not it is early yet to start piling pressure on Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia to come clear as to who he wants to pick to lead him. And so these are the 4 names that have come up tops from Parliament and from the Ashanti region who are gunning to become Bawumia's running mate into 2024.
And Kweku, we'll talk shortly about MPs who are now going on the record, already beginning to campaign for their own in the Ashanti region very aggressively. We'll also hear from the leadership of the House. You've also been speaking. But the 4 names you mentioned, Raymond joins me now, because the argument we're hearing from Parliament is that there's an argument that Bawumia should look at how these 4 names performed in their various constituencies in the Ashanti region for him in the primary. Let's isolate them. Let's start with Osei Mensah. So who we know he's not going to contest it again, and many say he's doing so because he was aspiring to become his.
Yes, he was lacing his boots because he has been tipped for so many different occasions by even people in Parliament with the belief that he will transition into a wonderful, what they call it, vice presidential candidate. But in the Swami constituency, he had 511 votes, and that's 56.40% in the just ended primaries.
That doesn't sound to me like a strong showing.
Not as overwhelming as many thought he could do, but let's not forget, he has not been a very popular MP in that constituency. There was some form of a protest against him. His own people actually tried. There was a time that even the minority in Ghana's parliament had to go help him before he could maintain his seat in parliament. You remember those times?
He was literally chased out of his
So
own
he's not
constituency.
a very popular MP. One of the reasons why he's trying to leave the house. But he did 56% for Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. So that was his showing. Let's move on to the Mensah South Member of Parliament and the Energy Minister, Matthew Opoku Prempeh. He actually had an 85.5% showing.
Very dominant.
Some 478 votes. That is huge. He got more votes for Dr. Bawumia than he got in the general picture. So his 60% is below the constituency percentage that I actually got for him there. That's 85.5%. And when we move on to Joseph Oseusu, first Deputy Speaker of Parliament in the Bekwai constituency, he also did pretty well, 71.9%, almost 72%, and that was like 725 votes in the Bekwai constituency. He and the people, the people supporting him, believes that, mindful of what people have said about Joe Oseusu before, and let's not get it wrong, this is a man who went independent before becoming the Member of Parliament for that particular area. It's a good showing that should be considered, and that's what he did. Now, Jao Osei-Duchum in Bosomche had 60.2%. And even though that's better than the majority leader's own, many would have expected that if you really want to deliver, your percentage should be a par or way better than what the candidate got, which is Dr. Bawumia's own.
And the reason why this is important is Bawumia will need the Ashanti region to turn out in their numbers to vote for them. And we saw his performance there. It wasn't the dominant performance in their stronghold. So he needs somebody who will complement him, who will get the numbers out, who would influence the votes there. And that's why these four names have come up strongly on the floor of Parliament. And so, of course, if you're judging their strength, you're looking at the ability to convince the party's delegates to galvanize that base, to show up in your numbers. If you cannot galvanize your own base, you're in trouble in the elections, right? So you look at Matthew Opoku Prempeh, for example, with his 85.5% in his constituency for Dr. Bawumia in the primary, and many people will say, just looking at the sheer numbers, he seemed to have done better than almost all the other individuals named.
You know, yes, of the list, even prior to the primaries, Matthew Opoku Prempeh had been a front runner. If you ask some MPs in Parliament, there are MPs in Parliament today in the Ashanti region who he basically sponsored or who is mentees for a very long time, and he has that controlling power, not least because of the connection with Mensah, not least because he has been seen as coming from a Pejahinifi and all of the other things that would make the Ashanti votes rally around him. But he's worked so well in the region as a major force now that it's almost impossible to ignore him.
And Kweku is still with me. And Kweku, you managed to speak to one of the persons tipped, and in the list we just went through, the first deputy speaker. What did he tell you?
Yes, the deputy speaker, right after he had presided over the house and going through the speaker's lobby to his office, I waved at him, tried to shove my mic at him, try and ask him what is going on with that. I asked him, his name has come up strongly. He told me those are just rumors, while smiling and walking into the lobby. I also tried to do the same with Mensah, who had also been on the floor earlier on when he was leaving. He also just smiled and waved away. He did not respond. Of course, Matthew Opoku Prempeh was not in the house today. Dr. Osei-Duchum was also not in the house. But those two persons, whose names have all come up quite strongly, just waved at me and said, these are just rumors, and they just went on.
And Kweku, there are other MPs who are not hiding the fact that for them, Dr. Bawumia must ensure that whoever he selects is a person from the Ashanti region. You've been speaking to the Kwadaso MP, and he's been very direct about this.
Yes, Professor Kingsley Nyako actually tells me about the names that we have just discussed. He says that he believes all of them are quite competent enough to partner Dr. Bawumia into the next election. But he goes on to say that if you look at the results that came in from the Ashanti region and how the MPs showed Dr. Bawumia love in his own words, he believes that the call for Dr. Bawumia to pick someone from the Ashanti region is strong and should not be done away with.
Has to do that in connotation the National Council. If anybody says that the running mate should come from the Ashanti region, and I think that I'm in agreement to that. It's not because I'm a member of parliament from the region, and I think that the region holds a key to the electoral fortune of the New Patriotic Party. There are a lot of competent personalities from the region. So I don't think that it is out of place to get someone from there. I mean, he can decide to choose the running mate from any other region, but strategically, from the Ashanti region, I think that it will be a step in the right direction. Don't forget that at the Superdelegate Conference, we had about 7 of the aspirants coming from the region, but the region showed him love, especially the members of parliament showed him love, and he got 82% from the region. You know what I mean? So for me, I think that it's a call in the right direction. But eventually, he decides, and per his judgment, nobody will question his judgment. But I think that at the back of his mind, he understands the politics. He knows that there are a lot of capable persons in the Ashanti region who can partner him to execute a very successful campaign during the 2024 campaign and election. So for me, I would support any call by anybody to consider, for him to consider that.
And Kweku, the minority chief whip has also been speaking about this, and also the Lands and Natural Resources Minister also. They are urging calm a bit. They want people to just hold their horses and give Bawumia the room to make a decision.
Yes, I put the names that we just discussed to the majority chief whip, Frank Anodompre, and he said that he believes that all of them are competent enough to partner Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, but that choice should ultimately rest with the vice president, who is not the flag bearer. On the part of the lands minister, Samuel Abujinapo, however, he says he lists a certain criteria that he believes Dr. Bawumia is currently looking at, and ultimately he will make that choice, and the people in the party will rally with it.
Monday to determine who becomes the running mate. I think it's the exclusive decision of the flag bearer in consultation with the National Council, and that has been the tradition, and I want to respect that. Yes.
The boss is in the running.
Mensah,
whose name has come up.
The
speaker.
Well, I think they're all good guys. All the names I've heard, they are equally good. But I know the Lord will decide. Yes.
Before you go, a number of names have come up for running mates. Who are you backing? Napo, the majority leader, the deputy speaker. Are you backing any of them?
First of all, first consideration is whom the candidate is comfortable with, because remember, the candidate is going to work with this this presidential candidate, God willing, by the grace of God and with the support of the Ghanaian people. If he is elected, the person he selects as running mate will become vice president. Like the Americans say, your vice president, you must be able to leave your coffee with him and go to sleep. As President Akufo-Addo will be able to leave his coffee with Vice President Bawumia. So that's where we begin from. So who the candidate is comfortable with. And secondly, who can help him, who can complement the ticket and make his victory much easier than it would have been. And thirdly, is whom the candidate prefers. And for me, I will support whatever the candidate settles on.
And Raymond, we focus on the names from the Ashanti region, but there are 2 additional names in the Greater Accra region also making a case for this.
Yes, the Chief of Staff, Frema Osel Parry, has been actually tipped to be one of those interested or being pushed for this particular position. Now, it's a dicey one because she's currently not Member of Parliament, but she was the Member of Parliament for Ayawasu West Wuogon. Of course, one of the most successful on the MPP's ticket at the time in Ayawasu West Wuogon. Dr. Bawumia lost to Kennedy Japan. Dr. Bawumia had 46%. So if you are tying her fortunes to that one, 46% appears not to be a very, very wonderful showing for Dr. Bawumia. 226 was it. Now, there are those who have extended the argument that why are we connecting her to the constituency she is currently supposed to be? Why not her hometown? So she's from Biamuasi in the Ashanti region, which is in the Fijaseche East District constituency. In that constituency, the Dr. Bawumia actually won with 62%. So when the argument is posited that it's 46% that should be tied to her people, make the counter argument that go to her hometown where she still holds some sway, even though people believe that it's Ayawasu West Wogon, that should be the case. So 62% in her hometown, then 46% in the place she was previously member of parliament. That's for the chief of staff. Of course, 46% is a poor showing. 62% is within the range of not so much the Matupoku Prempes of the era, but I mean it's quite appreciable too. Now, when we look at Eslo Owusu barely made it through with 52% in the Ablekuma West constituency. Now, let's put in proper perspective. Esla is a member of parliament. She's also the Minister for Communications. If Esla Owusu's chances are tied in any way to the very constituency and the votes they gave Dr. Bawumia, the 52% is not so much of a good showing. And there are some who are saying that your popularity shows, and that whoever defends Bawumia on the grounds, it reflects in the votes that people give the person. And the election more reflects what you have done on the ground. In fact, there are some who said if this was like the NDC's election where the parliamentary and the presidential happened predominantly on the same day, some of these members of parliament would have lost their seats. and 52% appears to be a narrow escape anyway.
And you talked about the chief of staff. He gave a brief response to this recently, and he says, wherever you've heard that I'm in the running mate or I've been considered, he said, I thank them, but I have not heard that yet. So she's waiting to hear officially. I want to bring in Sami Wuku. He's a leading member of the vice president's campaign team. Obviously, they won that particular race. The vice president has now been elected flag bearer of the party. Guess who else is joining us? Obi Bwai, who is a former deputy general secretary of the party. He has some experience. He played a very critical role back then when the particular running mate was being considered. I want to bring them both in right now. I believe I may have lost one of them on the telephone line right now. Let's bring in Sami who is with me. Hello, Mr. Oku. Thanks for your time here on Top Story.
Thank you, Evan.
He's the vice president. Of course, it's just a third day after he won that victory on Saturday. Is he feeling the pressure yet? Pressure to select a running mate?
Well, let me say a very good evening to your cherished listeners. And you're having an interesting discussion there. And I'm not too sure where this discussion is originating from. Nonetheless, we appreciate the fact that there's so much excitement around who you will eventually select. For now, let me issue a disclaimer. The Vice President has not discussed with any member of his team, of his inner team, or bigger team about his choice that he will be recommending to the National Council. What is on his mind now is how to assist the party, go through the motion, sort out the issue of the selection or election of parliamentary candidates for the orphan constituency, and then also have a look at, take a keen interest in the district assembly elections, and then politically again, look at how we can get MPs for where we have sitting members of parliament. So we haven't had any discussion, and I'm not too sure that it's something that he is in a rush to do. There are two things about him, and two things will come to play when it comes to him. He's extremely analytical, and secondly, he consults broadly. So he'll be taking the views of people he knows when he is ready, and then also analyze the situation well. He has his strength, he has his weaknesses. So whoever you also choose him must complement where you fall short. And I think when the time comes, knowing him very well, you'll pick the right marble. But for now, he hasn't discussed it with any of us around him. He hasn't also discussed with the campaign team in general. That's all I can say.
In Parliament today, the Kwadasu MP, for example, was clear that that whoever that individual is, and whenever time it comes to considering it, that person must come from the Ashanti region. One, because it's your stronghold, and you need somebody to assist him there, galvanize that base. What do you make of that? Analysis?
I think it's persuasive. So all the various thinking and thought processes will come to play, and I'm sure when the right arguments are made. The good thing is the MPs have so many assets, so many talents. Definitely, whoever is also selected will have to be somebody who is ingrained in the party, somebody who also is also appreciated by the party, and the person who can also help keep the momentum up as far as the rank and file of our party is concerned.
Stay with me. Aubrey.
Evans, I'm unable to say with
okay.
I think everything I want to say, I have said.
No problem. But since I still have it with you, then I know Dr. Bawumia is the third day. It's as you say, he's going around, and his focus is to try and get the MP's process concluded already. Yes. But I'm very sure, Sammy, you are a very astute politician. You definitely would have noticed the jostling already happening today. For example, in the newspapers, at least I can count at least 5 front pages where the flag bearer conversation has already begun. In fact, stories that look like in the running mate conversation, yes. And you see stories about a particular MP who has been accused of lying to delegates. Clearly, this is happening, and you must have noticed this.
Unfortunately, I haven't read the dailies today. I was in Ivory Coast. I just got back.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks, Sammy. Thank you very much. And Raymond, that is an important point, is it not? We woke up this morning and at least the front pages 5 of the papers.
So the Jostling
had the same story.
Yes, and
about the setting member of parliament who
spent some time in the US and all of that. I mean, at the risk of actually repeating some of the things that were said, which appeared to be not so palatable about this member of parliament, it's a clear-cut indication that.
And the thing is that it was in the MPP aligned papers.
Yes, basically all of them. In all fairness,
and on the front page.
Yeah. And the stories are very almost the same anyway.
Same headline, same text.
It's quite clear people are positioning themselves, and it is a competition, right? So people will do a lot of things to catch the eye of the gentleman, including mudslinging and others, and clearly showing you why they are not more qualified. So if I'm able to rule you out, then I'll be I'll be in a better position and a better candidate to run.
And everybody, thanks for the time here on Top Story. Surprised that it's beginning this early, 3 days after the man was elected?
Well, it's a human institution. So why should we be surprised about this? The flag bearer has been elected. So obviously people will be jostling for the vice president position. So I'm not surprised at all.
You've had the consideration that one of the first considerations that have been thrown up today in Parliament is that Bawumia must pay attention to how these individuals who have been tipped, how they performed in their constituencies in the primary for him. And then secondly, the Ashanti regional factor cannot be ignored. That person must come from there. What are your thoughts on this?
Look, see, the tradition is that it is not the flag bearer himself who selects his running mate. He may put out some names. He may consider a particular person. But the boss stops at the doorstep of the NEC and the National Council. The NEC and the National Council. So if you look at this tradition very well, in 1979, the PFP and the UNC, those who were considered for the vice president position, it wasn't Apawu of his own volition selected his running mate. It was not Victor on his own volition. The conglomeration of factors that came to play that ended in the selection of the various running mates. Now, fast forward, 1992, Adubuahin. It wasn't Adubuahin as an individual who selected his running mate. But the leadership, Adubuahin may put out some names. Then the leadership will meet in caucus. Then they will consider instances about where, when we are talking about this tradition, the particular flag bearer candidate which he brought to the attention of the NEC was refused. There were a lot of instances. In 2000, Ali Mahama, Midra, everybody did give him a dog chance. But eventually he was settled upon as the running mate.
You've just indicated that you have history where the flag bearer brings a candidate and the candidate is rejected.
No, I said that possibility is there. That possibility is there. I am telling you on authority Then come to think of Manado, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. After Legon, December 2007, some names started A to B, to B, C. Then, out of the blue, Dr. Bawumia's name came out. So when we are dealing with a party like the New Patriotic Party, it's not the individual who selects astronomy. There are a lot of factors.
But it's realistic and reasonable to expect that he will have the final say. I mean, in the end, he will have to work with the passing directly.
Obviously, yes. Obviously, it is also possible that he settle on one particular candidate. The NEC and the National Council will refuse that selection. Then you are bound to change your position. It is also possible. So as to who will be the running mate? I mean, it's too early for me to talk about that.
I know you say it's too early.
People want to occupy the political space. People will be jostling for positions. But as far as this tradition is concerned, let's go back to the 1947, then the Congress Party in the 1950s. 1969, after 1969, it was a parliamentary system.
Well, Mr. Ribai, you were an integral part of the Bawumia campaign as a former general secretary, and you come from the Bonahafo region, of course, the Prima Bonahafo region. Do you agree that the candidate, whoever he selects, must come from the Ashanti region?
Oh, certainly no.
Certainly
We should allow Bawumia to do his homework. Just that the running mate should not come from the northeast. Just that the running mate should not come from northeast. No, Dr. Bawumia comes from northeast. And just that the running mate should not come from northeast. That is all.
Okay. Dr. Sasante is a senior political science lecturer at the University of Ghana Political Science Department. Joins us now. Doc, where do you stand on this?
Good evening, Evans, and good evening to your listeners. I believe that the call is good now. The conversation has started on time. But some of the standards people are talking about is going to be used to select the person. If indeed that is the case, then I'm afraid it's going to be problematic. That they are looking at, yes, Ashanti region. I am for that. I believe that strategically it is good to have running mate from Ashanti. If you look at it against the backdrop that Ashanti brings in a lot of votes, you really give people more opportunity to express themselves, come out in their numbers and come and support the party. So if the candidate comes from there, fine. But if you go by the performance, if you look at it, anywhere the person performed very well, that is where Dr. Bawumia performed very well in the last election. Sorry, the recent election. Then you are going to look at it. Then I ask you, strategically, will it be a wise thing? Because you can come from a place which is, very small constituency. They don't have the numbers and all that, and the person scores very high. Are you going to pull the person from that place? It will not work. Even come home, Ashanti region, you want to pick people based on the performance that you have seen in the election in that area. If you rely on that, you are going to deceive yourself, because somebody can score so high, but at the end of the day, he will not be able to pull a lot of people along with the party so as to, win its mandate 2024. So it's a whole lot of factors that are considered. But if you go on even that tangent, you are not fair to the people themselves. Are they chairman or, the head of the region who conducts these processes to make sure that people vote one line or another? That's unfair. And so that analysis, I believe that if that is what they want to go by, and I'm afraid they are going to pick a candidate who at the end of the day everybody will gang up against and say that, well, they've selected you, go out there and campaign and let's see. So I believe in matters of this nature, research would do. By now, I'm sure, being a party in government, they have done all their research to know the right person to pick so as to deliver the numbers for them.
Dr. Sasante, thank you very much. News Night starts right now.
After 5 months, 17 days, and 19 deaths, tonight the renal dialysis unit of the Kolebu Teaching Hospital finally reopened 6 clear days after the Ministry of Health's orders.
It's a big relief, like I said, it's a life-saving something. At least now the death rate will go down. So that new price that they are talking about is something they really have to look at it, because that is the reality.
We'll get to hear from the patients who have been giving a lifeline to health. Meanwhile, Kolebu hospital authorities are also charging Parliament to approve their new fees and charges. We have details of that. Tonight, also, minority vowed to oppose the 2024 budget every step of the way if adequate commitments are not made with respect to the general hospitals demolished before the 2024 election.
I am the chairman of the Greater Accra Caucus of the minority. You are on our land, and I'm assuring you, if we don't see it in the budget, we will not make the budget in this house come out.
We have details as MP for Dadeko Tupong expresses she and her constituents' deepest disappointment in government over the hospital fiasco.
As the elected representative of the good people of Dadeko Tupong, I see and hear the frustrations of residents of Teshin and Osu about the delayed promise to deliver an ultra-modern, international and 21st century hospital.
And stop interfering in the day-to-day administration and leave same to management of the Ghana Airport Company Limited, SHRAJ, tells board chairman Paul Adumotre as he concludes investigation into the famous Christmas tree procurement, revealing consistent breach of procurement laws since 2018 at the company.
Although the breaching of the procurement law attracts a penalty of 1,000 penalty units or 5 years imprisonment, SHRAJ does not think that Paul should suffer this because he is not the organization, even though they agree that he interfered in the work of management and actually led to the breaking of the law.
In business, pensions regulator NPA awaits industry proposals on increase of pension age.
And in sports, Ghana's Apem Dakwa vowed to eschew complacency and stay focused on clinching the title after historic win over defending champions, the CAF Women's Champions League.
All that plus your views and comments here on News 905511119997. My name is Evans Mensah.
I am Emefa. We are right back after this break.
The online page for the new business account was in shambles yesterday. We lost the page.
Tell me about it.
We started off very confident, and then the office broadband went down. When we set up the hotspot from the phone to reconnect, the data allocation also got finished.
You are joking.
I wish. The meeting room was hot. Kobe quickly tried calling them to give us some more time, but he had no airtime. Total chaos. They also gave us feedback that our website didn't have enough information. How can you run a business this way and hope to grow?
Oh dear.
Your business communication can be way better than this. Vodafone One Business is a complete communications package that gives you broadband with data transfer to mobile phones, mobile package with free calls among employees, landline with free calls and website design plus domain name registration. At Vodafone Business, we understand that strong connections within your business lead to success. Call 050-777-9000 or sign up by sending an email to sme@vodafone.com. Vodafone, further together.
Ready? Let's go. We all go bring some savannah.
Everyone is dancing, everyone is singing, because everyone is painting with Savannah. Savannah paints from Azar are affordable enough for everybody to fulfill their paint needs. Paint more, pay less. Savannah paint, we all go paint some.
We all go paint some Savannah. We all go paint some.
Surprises at Batmax. It's the big sale. And for the first time, big discounts on all product families till the end of the year. Big deals on tiles, lights, sanitary ware, and many more. It's the biggest sale of the year. Yes, you heard right. Big discounts up to 70% off. Visit our showroom at the North Industrial Area next to the Winners Chapel, Ghana. Don't miss out. Batmax, welcome home.
Hello, babe.
Hello, Hima.
So I've seen the other Travels Asia trips, and I want to do Singapore and Malaysia cruise.
Okay.
No, wait. I think I'll do Philippines and Singapore instead.
Okay.
Hold on.
So what do you want?
Let's do a minute.
The Asia trip is here. Where do you prefer? Special Singapore and Malaysia tour cruise from 18th to 25th December at a rate of $2,590 per person and $5,150 for a couple. Or Philippines and Singapore from 20th to 30th December at a rate of $3,490 per person and $6,950 for a couple. The choice is definitely yours. This rate cover your flight, accommodation and breakfast, tours, airport transfer, etc. Call 0595 500 817 or 0556 310 404. At Dancy Travels, fuel life's beauty.
Many thanks for staying with us here on Newsnight. We delve into the stories now. And their pleas finally heard after 5 months and 17 days. Kolebu Teaching Hospital hears the cry of hundreds of renal patients with kidney failure who've been battling for their lives. The facility, we know, has been shut since 22nd of May over a 4 million cedi debt. The Renal Patients Association of Ghana say at least 19 of its members died within that period. Ideally, renal patients need to undergo dialysis 3 times a week, but many young patients settled for at least just once a week. For them, the wait was long and unbearable. Maxwell Agbagba has been interacting with some of them who are under 30 years old.
I'm 16 years old.
16-year-old Rosemary Boydu. She has a kidney failure and requires dialysis treatment 3 times every week. She says with some health facilities charging as much as 500 Ghana cedis, she's unable to afford it.
Sometimes, because of the dialysis, I don't go to school on Mondays and Thursdays. I'll come for dialysis. Whenever I go to school, sometimes I'll be confused, especially when they treat mass. I don't understand why they are fruit. But sometimes if we get the money, we will come for the dialysis. If we do not get, then we will not go. Even sometimes, what we eat is very difficult unless I'll be calling people, and sometimes I'll not get the money, so I have to sleep like this. We are pleading with government to help us with the dialysis. We cannot pay because of that. We are not able to go for dialysis.
I've been on dialysis for the past 4 years.
Also here is 24-year-old Stacey Adams-Benyi.
It's been very, very challenging. I mean, I'm not getting support from anywhere currently because everyone is financially unstable. My mom is not working at the moment, and back home, I mean, things are not really going on well, so it's been very challenging. At least include dialysis on the NHIS because we are really suffering. People are dying.
Dede Mensah has lost her mother and father. She's unemployed. She's sometimes compelled to go weeks without dialysis.
I was schooling at Bryasu Senior High and I had kidney failure, so I have to come home. They put me on the machine. Sometimes we beg, so because of that, I don't drink water, I don't eat. Even when I'm thirsty, I'll be there, I won't drink because I know if I drink, I will suffer, so I won't drink.
Well, in the last hour, management of Kolebu Teaching Hospital, they have reopened the dialysis service to outpatients. My colleague, Apani Ashali, joins me in the studio with details of that statement. Papa, we know they've opened it. What else did they say in that statement?
Well, Evans, not much details in the statement, but it says that it claims that renal dialysis unit was reopened to outpatients on Monday, yesterday, November 6, 2023. Now, this was subsequent to engagement with the Minister of Health, Honorable Kweku Ajiman, last week.
But the big question now is, how do you sustain this reopening over the period, especially since the hospital owes about 4 million cedi?
Yes, Evans, on the debt, there was no indication as to whether it has been paid or not. That statement only said the Ministry of Health is working closely with management of Kolebu to offset the 4 million Ghana cedis debt occasioned by the cost under recoveries. However, the hospital is still pursuing Parliament to approve an upward adjustment in fees for dialysis. The statement says, we call on Parliament to expedite action on the proposed new fees and charges to enable us to recover the cost and sustain the service.
Okay. Now, some patients have already been called to visit the facility for blood tests. They spoke to us.
Kolebu is 380. Over there is 480. Yeah, it's 480. So that is the difference.
Were you able to do the full session the entire week?
Well, I was able to manage.
So what's the information you have, the recent information you have from Kolebu?
Yeah, I was called that I should come and then do some labs, so that when they start calling us, they can call me. That without the labs, they will not call me. Without the lab results, I might not be called. So that's why I've come.
Okay. But they didn't tell you when they are going to start?
Exactly when, no, but I was told from an outside source that it's going to be this week.
I'm from Eastern Region, Chibi. Okay, actually, yesterday I heard that they are doing the lab test, so I should come and do my own. Today it will not work, so I'll go back and find money to come for dialysis for tomorrow. If they call me, probably if they call me tomorrow, I'll definitely get the money to come on tomorrow.
Well, let's get on the phone lines and get some more answers. And thankfully, the Public Relations Officer of the Ministry of Health, Isaac Ofeba, joins us on the line. Thank you so much for your time here on Newsnight. Well, really, after 5 months, 17 days, finally, it's been reopened. But I'm more curious, 6 days after that directive or that communication, we are now seeing the reopening of the facility. What really happened between the announcement you gave us and the reopening day today?
Yes, so good evening to your cherished listeners. And what happened was that the Honorable Minister has given a directive to Kolebu last week Thursday for Kolebu to reopen the center for accessibility. Now, a further engagement indicate that they will have to prepare the place to make sure that when they start operating, there's no way they will be shutting the place down again. So that we don't open it for 1 week and say that the next week we are not operating. So there's the need for them to further engage and further stock the facility so that once they open yesterday, then they are able to continue with the operation. So I think maybe that could be the cause of delay. Behind the scene, there have been a number of engagement between the ministry and the management of Kolebu, especially the chief executive. As I'm speaking to you currently, there is a further engagement as to how to sustain the renal unit so that we don't say that maybe after the reopening, 1 week later, 2 weeks later, 1 month later, we'll be compelled to shut the place down. So I think that those are the things that led to the 6-day intervals that delayed the opening of the center.
One would have thought that all these further engagements and stocking amongst others you talk about, you say you think could have been the reason why the immediate orders were not carried out. One would have thought all this would have been done before the announcement that you made on Thursday.
Yes, those things were done. You know, let's take a look at one critical issue here. Kolebu is a referral center. And so we have a number of dialysis centers across the country, more or less like 10. But because of the number of cases that is being transferred from the various regions to Kolebu, the number of patients that rely on dialysis increase almost every day. And so getting to that, there is the need for them to adequately prepare. We did a number of engagements, and because it was delayed, that is how come the Honorable Minister indicated that with an immediate effect, they should ensure that the place is open. I am happy that they have complied, and I'm happy that they have started operating from today so that the issue of deaths and challenges that we were facing before the opening of this center will be a thing of the past. And so I wouldn't say that it was a deliberate attempt by Kolebu to delay and later open after 6 days, but it was something that they were trying to put in place so that after opening the center, we don't find ourselves wanting or facing any challenges again. Because the number keep increasing, the number keep coming from the various regions. When they transfer cases and the person has to go on dialysis, the person is coming to Kolebu Dialysis Center, which is increasing every day. We have Kofanochi Dialysis Center, we have Cape Coast, we have Ho, we have Tamale, but all of them are not on that pressure. The reason why Kolebu is facing those challenges is because of the number that keeps coming every day. And so when they want to rely on the number they previously have 5 months ago, when they shut down the place, they want to say that we open for the same people to come, that would be a lie. It wouldn't have happened like that. But they're going to have new patients coming in almost every day.
The reason why we're here is 4 million cedis. The statement was not clear whether that amount has been paid. What we see is that measures are being taken. Really, what's the status of this debt? Has it been cleared? What exactly is the situation?
The situation regarding the debt is that government has taken steps to ensure that that debt is cleared. And so the general public must rest assured there's no debt in the first place. There is a debt to be cleared. Government has taken steps that give us these documents, the document you rely on to indicate that government is owing or the public is owing you, so that government will come in to clear. Let us get it clear here that it is not a debt that government owe for them to pay, but it is as a result of the subsidy that gets out. So government said, give us those documents through the Ministry of Health, which Kolebu had submitted, and Ministry has taken initial steps. There have been a lot of improvements. So we are looking forward that those debts will be cleared. However, there has also been a different support to them in order that we don't get back to those places, those situations again. So that going forward, we are able to say that we are operating the place without any challenges of debt that will incur after the place has been open. And so all those things are part of the issues that government has taken up, that we don't leave those issues with Kolebu to handle. Some of the issues are being handled by Kolebu. Now government has stepped in to take those issues from them. Let us not forget that the ministry, one of its goal or challenge project is that we're going to have a universal health coverage by 2030. So we can't have a universal health coverage when we are not able to afford our hospital bills and all that. So this has been part of what government has intervened, that some of the issues we can't leave them for Kolebu. Let's just take it up as a government or as a ministry, and then we look for a different source into paying some of these arrears when they come.
I hear you say that things will be different going forward because we know that it goes beyond just the 4 million cedi debt. Is there a particular intervention that is being put in place? Because we know about consumables, costs, and amongst others. It looks like things are changing. What will be different, you'd say?
Yeah, and I remember about 2 weeks ago that His Excellency the President have directed that we should migrate the dialysis cost on the National Health Insurance basket. When that's happened, that one can also be part of the interventions. I'm not saying that I'm directing that dialysis cost should be moved to National Health Insurance, but I'm using that as a bit to explain the situation, the interventions that government is putting in place in order that we don't get ourselves back into that place, that situation. And then the ministry is also initiating efforts, like creating a fund for them so that going forward, ministry or government is able to lead or subsidize some of this payment so that it doesn't come back that Kolebu is owing. Remember, Kolebu is an agency just like Ghana Health Service, Food and Transport under the ministry. So we lead some of these policies for them. They bring it here, and then we have to submit those things to Parliament. So we sit down with them, then we formulate policies that will be able to take care of some of these lapses that has been there for the past.
Tell me a bit more about this fund that you talk about that will be set up. Is it the case that something went wrong, for which reason we had that debt and then we have to set up this particular fund? Tell us more.
I am not saying that we are going to set up a fund for that. You ask of reasons or what we are going to do differently, and I'm saying this could be some of the possibilities, some of the things that we're going to do, so that we're going to look up. So it is not a decision that the ministry can take, because everything that we do regarding policies, fees payment and all that, will have to go to Parliament for approval. So I want us to look at that. I'm not saying that we're going to set up a fund, but when you ask, how are we going to face the challenges ahead, I just give examples and possibilities or possible ways that we can take off those things.
Talking about going to Parliament for approval, will Kolebu still be permitted to go ahead and ask Parliament to approve the increase in the dialysis fees?
Yes, Kolebu can do that, but they can't go to Parliament. They can't do that without the Ministry of Health. And so whatever they do would have to come through the ministry. The ministry will lay that to Parliament. But as far as I'm concerned, we've not initiated any process yet. And then when that is done, we'll let the general public know. You are there with us, and we will never hide that information from you. We will let the public know. When we are in crisis, that there should be the need for increment, we will let the public know. When government has done any intervention, that the general public or people living with that condition will not have to pay anything, we'll let the public know.
Okay, so
and just like I said earlier, this is a directive from His Excellency the President that should be migrated to the National Health Insurance bracket. But when you look at the cost involved, how are we going to regulate it so that it will not come back to say that we are not having money to sustain. Those are the kind of policies that are being put in place now, and we hope that we'll be able to tackle it head on.
Okay, so for clarity, you're saying that there will be no increase. The price that they're currently charging is what will be charged for the foreseeable future.
It's not a federal decision that I'm taking here, but as far as I'm concerned for now, there's no document indicating that there will be increase from one price to another price. When Kolebu presents that proposal to the ministry will sit down and take a critical look at it as to whether to forward it or to drop it.
But the statement I see issued by Kolebu is actually charging Parliament to consider the fees and charges, and you say there's no document to that effect?
No, when Kolebu issued that statement is referred to the ministry. And so if they are urging Parliament to consider, there are a lot of policies that we are sending to Parliament regarding this situation that Kolebu finds itself in. Okay. And like I mentioned earlier, we'll be going to Parliament for the consideration of dialysis as part of National Health Insurance Bill. Those things all come into play. So when they plead with Parliament for them to consider some situations or some of the proceedings that they may bring to Parliament, I think it's fair. Just that it will still have to come through the Ministry of Health. And when it's time for the ministry to communicate on that particular or a particular issue to talk about, the ministry will issue a statement to that effect.
Well, but Ofe, just briefly before I let you off, will you say all is well between the sector minister and authorities of the Kolebu Teaching Hospital?
Everything is perfectly well. Like I said, that as I'm speaking to you now, I just have to step out from a meeting.
Okay.
The chief executive is here with the honorable minister,
okay,
discussing some of these issues.
We're grateful. We'll leave it here. We're grateful for your time. That's Isaac Ofe, but he's the PRO of the Ministry of Health.
Well, let's quickly speak to the president of the Renal Patients Association, Kojo Bafwa-Hinkra, joins us now. Kojo, so it's reopened now. Have you been there yourself?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I've been there.
Okay, and everything okay?
Yes and no. One, the call came in yesterday that we should report for our labs, and then they will start with that. So this morning, I went there to get my labs done, and then I presented to them. So I'm waiting for the call to come when I'm supposed to come and dialyze. But officially, I can speak on authority. The place is open.
And you've seen Kolebu say in the statement today that they're asking Parliament to expedite the consideration of the new fees, which means you can expect that the prices may go up if Parliament agrees with them. Does that concern you?
It does a lot. I always say, the last time when I even said that the prices that they want, the new prices they want to charge, it's realistic. When you look at the price of the consumables and the tax they pay on the consumables, that is compelling them. And because there was another debt there, they want to break even. So it does. It makes but the point is, it is not sustainable. We cannot afford to pay. Even the 380, like we keep saying, it was First Sky who was paying for us. Now that they've called us and say we should come and pay, we don't even know whether the First Sky is still going to pay or. But for now, they've told us that when you are coming, come with your 380. So if the 380 we are having a challenge and they are trying to get Parliament to increase it, we will come back to square one. We cannot afford. So it's something we are looking at it. I heard the PRO saying you don't have any documents showing whatever it might be. We pray so. And we pray the government to really step in on this issue for us.
Thank you very much. Now, let's stay with issues surrounding hospitals. And with less than 2 weeks for Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta to present the 2024 budget to Parliament, NDC MPs are threatening to oppose it if government does not make adequate commitment to construct the La General Hospital. Now, you recall, government demolished the facility prior to the 2020 election to construct a new facility, but almost no work has been done. We will hear from the MP for the Dodio Nilanti Vanderpoy shortly. But first, listen to MP for Lada de Kotopon Rita Adolesoa, who delivered a stern rebuke of the government in a statement on the floor.
By April 19, 2023, 3 years after the demolition, the Presidential Advisor on Health, following a long line of excuses, disclosed that government was now tirelessly working to unveil a roadmap for the construction of the La General Hospital. This chronology of events has only deepened the public mistrust and cynicism within the La Dadekotopon constituency. People yearn for a fulfillment of this long-standing promise and their patience is wearing thin. Therefore, I passionately employ this House to assertively call upon the government to expedite allocation of the necessary resources and get the contractor to site without delay to commence construction of the hospital project. Mr. Speaker, as the elected representative of the good people of La Dadekotopon, I see and hear the frustrations of residents of La, Teshin, and Osu about the delayed promise to deliver an ultra-modern, international, and 21st century hospital. They are tired of being doubting Thomases. They desperately want to believe that government will keep to its promise and give the good people of La Dadekotopon the actual date for the commencement of the La General Hospital project. I thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
Well, let's bring in a parliamentary affairs correspondent, but you owe us the pronunciation of the minister's name again.
Udole.
Okay, let's bring in Kweku Asante, a parliamentary affairs correspondent. Kweku, give us details of this threat to reject the budget.
Well, according to the Greater Accra Regional Caucus in Parliament, led by the MP for Dodo, Nilanti Vanderpoy, it appears government is engaged in what he called witchcraft. He does not understand why you would tear down an existing hospital when you are not ready to put up a new one. He says the 2024 budget will not happen if that facility does not have adequate commitment earmarked in the budget.
As we are speaking today, in the next budget, we want to see a commitment to the commencement of work on the La General Hospital. It shouldn't be any promise. We want to see it in the next budget. Mr. Speaker, on this note, I am the chairman of the Greater Accra Caucus of the minority. You are on our land, and I'm assuring you, if we don't see it in the budget, we will not make the budget in this house come out. We will make sure that sitting will be disrupted until we see the La General Hospital captured in the budget. We will show you that we are on our land. In fact, this will be another showdown. We will make sure that the Minister of Health and the Minister of Finance will not enjoy the peace in their ministries. We are going to marshal the people of La and Gamachi to occupy your offices if you don't work on the La General Hospital.
Well, Kweku, so after that showdown talk by Nilanti Vanderpoy, the majority leader attempted to offer some explanation as to why works on the hospital has delayed. What exactly was it? Oh dear, we just lost Kweku Asante there. Would bring him back and hear more, but we had a directive from the Speaker on this matter.
The Minister for Health comes to the House to brief the House on the state of the completion of the La Government Hospital. As so direct.
So that's the Speaker's directive on this. Kweku, so the Minister now has a lot more answers to give Parliament on this, because we know on the renal dialysis issue and then this one as well. But let's talk about the Majority Leader's attempt to offer some explanation.
Yes, Emefa, according to Majority Leader Mensah, there are some funding challenges with a number of hospitals that government had earmarked it was going to construct under the last 4 years or so. And he believes the Finance Ministry, together with the Health Ministry, can provide some response. And so he implored on the Speaker to ask the Health Minister to come to the floor and provide some answers.
Well, that's our parliamentary affairs correspondent, Kweku Asante, there, joining us on what transpired in Parliament today, especially regarding the La General Hospital. We'll go for business shortly. When we return, get involved in rescuing the country. TUC urges Ghanaians to be prayerful as it reviews the economy is standing at the edge of a cliff, awaiting the slightest push to crash.
If you are in a church and you are praying, pray for Ghana, because we are in a very serious situation. We are standing at the edge of a cliff, and so any wrong move can land us down.
We have more as NDC flag bearer John Dramani Mahama believes the situation could have been avoided if civil society organizations in the country had joined forces with them to hold the Akufo-Addo government accountable.
MDC was left alone as the solitary voice seeking to hold the government accountable and speaking up for the voiceless Ghanaians. And we are all affected. As he said, country broke, country no broke. We all be inside.
We'll take more of that after business with George. Hello, George.
Hi, Emefa, and of course, as a Christian, that's the best thing you have to do.
Okay.
And you also put pressure on those on authority to take decisions that is in the best interest of the country. So we should put those people in the hands of God, but also demand accountability from them to doing the right things and not to take the wrong decisions. Whilst you are fasting and praying,
they should be taking the right decisions,
should be doing the right things
True.
in the interest of all of us.
What's in business there?
Well, coming up, pensions regulator NPR awaits industry proposals over increase of retirement age for the necessary parliamentary approval. And the economist Professor Peter Korte makes a strong case for development of tourist sites to rake in more revenue after a new report showed that Emefa tourists on the average last year, even in the midst of COVID-19 restrictions, spent over $2,700 in terms of average expenditure when they came to the country. I'll be telling you more on this, the business news on Newsnight. It's brought to you by MTN Business. Welcome to the new world of business. Kingdom Books and Stationery, Syntax Tanks and Pepsodent, Charcoal and Herbal.
When you want to eat, just Momo it. Tired of the long queues in the supermarket? Pay with Momo. When you really want that beautiful new blouse, just Momo it. When you want to get a trim and get fresh to impress you know who, just Momo it. When you need to pay your utility bills and domestic staff, Shani Momo. When you want to send love to the family back home, send some Momo. Join the millions of MTN Momo users all over Ghana and live life the brighter way. So just Momo it. MTN.
Son, we are so proud of you for setting up this hospital. I really love those hospital beds and waiting chairs. By the way, did you import them?
No, Dad, I didn't. I actually got them from Kingdom Books and Stationery right here in Ghana.
Wow. We also bought our office supplies, safes, executive desks and chairs from Kingdom, and they gave us expert advice on how to set up our office.
Guys, that makes 3 of us. I also got our sofa and bedroom sets, plus our dining hall furniture for our new home from Kingdom.
Wow, Mom, that makes 4 of us. I usually get my stationery items from Kingdom, and my teacher also mentioned that our classroom furniture was provided by Kingdom.
So there you have it. Whenever you're thinking about setting up an office or acquiring furniture for your home, etc., Kingdom Books and Stationery should be your first point of call. With over 40 years experience in the industry, we stock and supply a wide variety of globally sourced office and home furniture, stationery and equipment. Visit our head office, Osu Akwaje, or our office near the Osu Stadium. We're also in Tema Community 1, opposite Olam SHS, Kumasi KNUST campus, UCC Cape Coast, and now at the Marina Mall, Airport City. Or call us 0302-764101, 764209, or 762792. Visit our website www.kingdomgh.com.
No matter your water needs, Syntex has it all. Syntex Tank was first to introduce double layer tank, and now you can have as many layers as you want. Syntex Tank was first to introduce white inner layer tanks in Ghana, and now introduces the customer specs order, which will let you order any color and size you want. Syntex Tanks gives you the biggest warranty of 7 years, which no other tank gives you. So whatever your water consumption, size of project or demand, choose Syntex Tank. Syntex Tank, stress-free. Syntex Tank, reliable. Syntex Tank, maximum guarantee. Call 0244-335-168, Kumasi 0505-555-666, or visit syntexgh.com. Syntex Tank, strong, tough.
For over 10 years, Old Mutual has been touching lives in Ghana. Whether you're a trader or a student, an entrepreneur or an employer, or nearing your retirement, we have the right financial solutions tailored just for you. Contact Old Mutual on 030-7000-600 or visit our website on oldmutual.com.gh to learn more. And let's realize your financial freedom together. 10 years of greatness, here for a lifetime. Old Mutual, do great things every day.
I'm afraid! Yeah.
asam bisanda mo eti em not yero mu hwan planet mi fi na mo bodom pe mo man yakono eye kwabna na mu hwan so na timi just mali me ma yeni nyina de eye kojo en kro kwabna timi wi na bodom pe mo sense wo yisu accident eba ayede yan ban ni do braye bu si eti na mo ban na sem mana hode ne sa ani na kudwo so yisu accident chako na no ne de e ma wo se wo ye kreje fita na wotimi asiri bedwo ma na feel you ey kojo sa yeah Pepsodent Heba and Pepsodent Taco afedie ya kono natural FDIJ twadi nkato yatu.
The luckiest luck is everywhere for everyone, yeah. The luckiest.
Keep buying your luckiest ticket with star 712 hash as an individual, a group, an association, or even a community, and stand a chance of winning in the community draw or the ultimate draw on 23rd of December. Be the luckiest on star 712 hash and win millions. Ticket sale starts on October 4th, 2023, and draw date is on 23rd December 2023. Play responsibly, not for persons under 18 years. This promotion is regulated by the NLA on the Caritas platform. Win millions on star 712 hash.
Teachers. The luckiest. You could be the luckiest.
The Ministry of Education, in partnership with National Entrepreneurship and Innovation Program, present the most exciting science event of the year, STEM Novation, where innovation meets science. The National Contest of Ideas for Second Cycle Schools has reached its pinnacle with the final showdown, which features the top 24 schools, happening on the 14th and 15th of November at the City Conference Center, University of Ghana. Join us from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. and witness 24 exceptional schools going head-to-head in an innovation contest to solve tomorrow's problems today. Don't miss this grand occasion filled with knowledge, curiosity, and groundbreaking ideas. There will be exhibits of science projects from schools in Ghana. Come and take a look at the innovations of youth. Join us for STEM Novation 2023 because there's always room for more knowledge. STEM Novation 2023, solving tomorrow's problem today.
You're welcome back to Business on Newsnight. Now, plans to increase the retirement age from the current 60 years is making some significant progress. The National Pensions Regulatory Authority is currently awaiting final proposals from industry players on the way forward. Hifota Takrofi is the Chief Executive of the National Pensions Regulatory Authority. Has been giving us more insight on this development.
Every 3 years, we have to test sustainability. I mean, it is not just SNIT, but all social security institutions throughout the world, what we refer to as the DB schemes, yeah, they have to be actuarially assessed to see whether they are sustainable, you know, because longevity and other financial issues all do come in. So every 3 years here in Ghana, there's a test on the SNIT scheme, what we call the actuarial valuation. And every actuarial valuation has its recommendations. And when the recommendations come, then the institution, together with the regulator and the government, will have to work on those recommendations so that we can sustain the scheme going forward. And that is what we've been doing.
And in terms of your engagement with stakeholders, what is the roadmap or what is the way forward in dealing with one, issues about contributions, and also two, issues about reviewing the pensions age?
There are discussions ongoing. We are looking at how perhaps we may require some legislative changes. SNIT is working on some recommendations for the regulator, which might even include, I don't know, contribution increase in terms of percentages and so on and so forth. So all those things are in the pipeline, and as regulators we are waiting for recommendations from the industry to work on.
Hereford the Takrofi is the Chief Executive of the National Pensions Regulatory Authority. Economist Professor Peter Korte is making a strong case for development of infrastructure surrounding and leading to tourist sites to help rake in more revenue. It's coming after the new Institute of Statistical, Social and Economic Research report showed that tourists last year, on the average, spent more than $2,700 even within these COVID-19 restrictions in that year. Professor Peter Korte says the development shows that with little support, the sector could turn around the fortunes of the economy.
But this is certainly a positive move. I mean, if depending on where they are coming from, if from Europe or America, and they are bringing in this amount of dollars, that would obviously show up our foreign exchange earnings. That will certainly stimulate the tourist sector. I mean, the value chain within the tourist sector. You find hotels, you find restaurants, you find tourist guides, and many security services. You know, there's so much find within the value chain, and therefore this would employ people. It will create jobs. It will put food on the table. It will enhance livelihood. And for me, this is a positive move, and we have to invest more in the tourism sector.
Professor Peter Korte is an economist. The government has indicated that it is turning its attention to meeting targets under the second IMF program review. This was after it secured the staff level agreement under the first program assessment. The development will now pave the way for the IMF board to sit on Ghana's program that is this month for possibly to disburse some $600 million. Dr. Mohammed Amin Adam is the Minister of State at the Finance Ministry.
Immediately, we have thematic groups, committees that are working on the various targets. And as soon as the first review was over, the thematic group have started, talking and preparing for the next review. And don't forget that the hard decisions have been taken. The greatest of the measures that we have to take to consolidate our fiscals have been taken. We may have to take some more decisions going into the future, but I can tell you that the more unpalatable steps have already been taken. And so this first review was our major concern, given that another country, Sri Lanka, failed their first review. And you also know what happened to Egypt in their review. And so people might be expecting that Ghana was also going to fail, and this is why our success at the first review will be replicated in subsequent reviews.
Minister of State at the Finance Ministry, Dr. Mohammed Amin Adam. Now, Registrar of Companies, as part of moves to clean up the country's registrars engaged in business community, including the Ghana Union of Trade Association. Now, this is in the bid to help them renew registration or risk being expunged from the company's database. Registrar Jimama Wari has been speaking to Joy Business after meeting the Executive Council of the Ghana Union of Trade Association,
to ensure that businesses are properly registered and regulated, and then ensure that they are in compliance with the Companies Act in relation to filing of their returns and renewing of their businesses, because we do intend before the end of the year, at least by 31st of December, to ensure that if businesses have not been renewed or companies' returns filed, we will take those names off the register. So there was a need to talk to them about, because they have lots of members in the union, lots of companies that are part of the GUTA. So it would be good to talk to their leaders, to go back and talk to them and help them to comply with the provisions of the Act. That's why we call them.
Registrar of Companies Jemima Wari to the stock market. If you invested or if you had investment in MTN, today a share lost a pesewa to close at 1 Ghana cedi 36 pesos. Cow Bank lost 4 pesos to close at 51 pesos. If you have invested on the Ghana Stock Exchange, investments have gone up by 28%. And that's all for business on Newsnight. Back to you, Evans and Emefa. Spending about $3,000 next time. Holidays or tourists. Interesting development. That's the average.
Chicken feed for you. You can give me that, right?
Evans will give you like $5,000.
Evans.
Yeah.
I already owe her 5,000 cedis.
Let's do some of your messages that you've sent in. This one says, hello, greetings, Mr. Evans Mensah. Please, is it possible for Dr. Bawumia to choose His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo as a running mate? Please, my students are asking me. Please help me out. Thank you.
I'll pass it on to Samson Lada Yineni for you. I'm sure he would get you an answer.
But is it possible?
I am not a lawyer.
But the law talks about the fact that he can't run again as president. But does it talk about vice president or running mate?
It doesn't. Our lawyers will answer the question.
Okay. Well, this one says, what are the causes of this kidney failure in people, especially children? Is it the food they eat or the water they drink? Please, we need to know. I'm sure this is one of the topics that we'll be looking at on Ultimate Health very soon. And also this one says, Ghanaians are finding it difficult to pay for dialysis, yet the vice president spent 81 million cedis during presidential primaries. If the leader is spending like that, how can he rule the country? Okay, that's Abuchi Philip from Keta. Your message. This one from Sam Banaman in the USA. What compensations are authorities of renal unit of Kolebu going to give to the families whose relatives passed away before the unit is reopened? And okay, so that's your message. Sam Banaman sent that one in your messages.
You're still live here on Newsnight on Joy 99.7 FM. Emefa, do you like to pray?
Of course.
Okay, well, then you have to intensify whatever you do on Sundays or in the morning or whatever time you go on your knees. Well, because the TUC is asking you to do so.
Okay.
They argued tonight that the very survival of this economy depends on your prayer. Not just prayer, but intensified prayer. Now, the TUC says that the country is no longer at the crossroads, but guess what? It is at the edge of a cliff. Dr. Yauba, the Secretary General of the TUC, suggests there are fundamental issues with the current government's economic management that has left the economy in tatters.
We are in a state that all Ghanaians, wherever you are, you should have Ghana in mind, whatever you are doing. If you are at your workplace, think about Ghana. And whatever you do, do it in the interest of Ghana. If you are in a church and you are praying, pray for Ghana.
Why should we do that now?
Because we are in a very serious situation. As I said, we are standing at the edge of a cliff. And so any wrong move can land us down. Let us all work together to get Ghana out of the danger. And I'm sure we all benefit from that. I mean, we created the government.
Yeah, we can play our part.
So everybody should play their part. Government must also play its parts. Government must also play its part. Every Ghanaian should play their part. As I said, if you are at the workplace, think about Ghana. If you are in church, pray for Ghana. Because where we are, we need a lot of prayers. We are a trade union. You should understand that. So our main focus has to do with work-related issues. That's what we do. The Trade Union Congress was set up for workers. So we usually focus on workers' issues. But we realize that if the nation doesn't do well, workers will not do well. So we are shifting our focus not only on workers but also on national issues. That is why the manifesto has been prepared. The manifesto is a public declaration of our positions on almost everything in this country. That's why it's very comprehensive. And that's why we are talking about things that you hardly will hear TUC talking about. Because it's a manifesto. We are talking about the economy. We are talking about human development. We are talking about investment policy. We are talking about labor market issues, of course. And we are talking about governance. Usually you will not hear TUC talking about constitutions and so on. But because this is a manifesto, we are also talking about things that affect the country, including the need for the change of the constitution of this country.
So that interaction was after the engagement with NDC flag bearer John Dramani Mahama, who was invited by the TUC to present its policies to influence political parties' manifesto ahead of the 2024 general elections. Well, he said the economy could have been saved if civil society organizations had collaborated with the NDC to hold the Akufo-Addo government accountable.
We could have avoided this unpleasant situation. The signs of this crisis were there for all to see. A conflicted finance minister whose only interest was to borrow endlessly and mar our economy in the quagmire of debt was obvious from as far back as 2019. We could see it coming. A president whose budget was creatively crafted to hide huge liabilities in order to present a favorable economic outturn to the world so that he could borrow more from the international capital market was evident for all to see. Appointment of family and friends into various positions in government, brazen interference to obstruct the fight against corruption, reckless abuse of the public purse, arrogance, and luxury in the conduct of public officers have all been characteristic of this administration since its inception in 2017. It didn't start today. But comrades, it is regrettable for me to note that at such a crucial time in our nation's life, society's moral voice refused to speak up against these unfortunate developments in our democratic governance. MDC was left alone as the solitary voice seeking to hold the government accountable and speaking up for the voiceless Ghanaians. And we were often cast out as spoiled brats who were ranting just because we had lost power. Today, the chickens have come home to roost, and we are all affected. As he said, country broke, country no broke, we all be inside. There must be an end to this decline and a restoration of stability.
It's a live your news night on Joy 99.7 FM, and there you just had the John Dramani Mahama. Let's bring in Bao, who has sports for us tonight.
Yeah, Evans. Well, there's Champions League action tonight, and it's AC Milan versus Paris Saint-Germain. That's coming up at 8. It's going to be live here on your superstation, Joe 99.7 FM. And so just make it with us here at 8 p.m. But the media officer of Ghana's Ampem Dakwa has been speaking, Eric Asoma, and he says that they have vowed to avoid complacency after their big historic win over defending champions as far in the opening game of the Women's CAF Champions League. Now, the Ghanaian champions fought from a goal down to win 2-1 against Morocco as far in the opening game of the tournament being held in Cote d'Ivoire. And despite this historic win, Eric Asoma says the team is bent on avoiding complacency and staying focused on achieving their aim of winning the tournament.
If you talk to the girls, they will tell you just the trophy on this tournament is a motivation, and that's it. Not to win a match or a game after any other team, but all the teams that came are champions from their zone. So we are just taking it match after match. As I said, if we win a game, it's not the end. To be happy and to achieve what we came here is to win. We are in a tough tournament. Everybody is playing well, and you can't write off any other team here.
Yeah, that's Eric Osuma, the media officer of Ampem Dakwa. They play their next game against AS Monday, and a win will see them automatically qualify from the group stage to the semi-finals of the tournament. Just a little update. In the course of the day, there were reports that Bet Power has withdrawn their sponsorship for the Ghana Premier League, but latest reports indicate that they haven't done so, and they say they are committed to sponsoring the Ghana League, and they in fact have renewed their sponsorship, which was expected to be renewed annually. They've renewed it for the next season and will continue to partner with the Ghana Football Association to develop Ghana football. So that's it for sports. 8 p.m. Paris Saint-Germain versus AC Milan here on Joy.
Thank you very much, Ms. Bao. Time for stories of hope. I always look forward to it. Well, imagine dropping out of school at primary 5 and JHS 2 due to financial constraints, but still able to lift the burden of others through engineering and innovation. That's the story of Stephen and Cephas Loli, who are leveraging on their talent to bring relief to an entire community. The two Loli brothers, who hail from Sokwe in the Southern district of the Volta region, have beyond their personal challenges and educational background manufactured a car and a corn shelling machine to help farmers in their community. My colleague James Aveji tells their story in the following report narrated by Mamiesi Nyamiche Thompson.
Yeah, 5 gears CLM. First one at the front. Second one.
This car has 5 gears, just like the cars that you are used to. The only difference is that the reverse gear lever is separate.
Cephas and Stephen, two brothers who have decided to put their creative skills to work, describe to me how they built their own car. Their highest level of education is primary 5 and JHS 2. The perception is one will require a higher level of education to invent. However, this is not the case for these brothers. Their inspiration is fed by their deep passion to create. Stephen, the eldest of 5 siblings, dropped out of school at primary 5 and took to fishing to help his 4 younger siblings. But that help wasn't enough to see Cephas through junior high school, compelling him to also drop out in 2017.
We only completed junior high school. We didn't serve as apprentices under any master. We believe it is just a gift from God. We see a lot of the designs in our sleep and manufacture them.
But this plot did not prevent them from dreaming. Dreams that traveled beyond the classroom. The Lowly brothers decided to nurture their engineering talent. Cephas tells me how it all started.
We
were told our grandparents didn't do any apprenticeship, but yet they were able to construct canoes and repair a range of machines. So we also took after them. We just play around with our thoughts and they manifest into something useful.
Now the fruits of their ingenuity are beginning to take shape. They have already manufactured a car, a corn shelling machine, a fishing outboard motor, and a host of others.
Iron rod.
We used angle bars, iron rods, and some motor spare parts to manufacture the car. It uses a 1.75 horsepower engine. It was a sport engine we bought from some spare parts dealers and repaired it.
Stephen says his car has already undergone a second remodification, improving on an earlier model.
Me find difficult.
The first car we manufactured had wheelbarrow tires. It also did not have reverse gear, making it difficult to navigate. So we decided to fix a reverse gear and change the tires into car tires.
Forward.
Growing up in a farming community with several challenges, the two Lowly brothers decided to use their creations to bring some relief to farmers. They've also created a corn shelling machine, but how does it work? Stephen explains.
There is engine there. You start the engine first. If you start the engine starts working. You open this place. You fill some of the corn and pour it here. If you close it, you pull this thing, the cover like this. Okay. The corn will drop. Close it back again. After that, you start seeing the corn coming into the bowl, like this.
In 17 minutes, the machine is able to shell 1.5 bags of corn. An innovation the farmers are enthused about.
We can use a whole day to beat and shell this amount of corn manually if we're many. 1 to 3 people can take 3 days to shell with the hand. The machine has come to help. It has lessened our burden.
2 days.
The two say their focus is to improve their machines and produce them on a large scale to help others.
Fulfilling our dream is delaying because we don't have financial support. We did these ones from our own little savings. Our goal is to manufacture stronger cars that can convey food from the hard-to-reach villages to town. We are appealing to anyone who wants to support us with equipment, cash, or anything to promote our work. That's all we are asking for. Help from anyone to enable us improve society.
Till help comes, Cephas and Stephen will continue to do their best to improve the lives of the community in which they live. James Aveji's report for Joy News.
stories of hope, and that's how we end today's edition of Newsnight. We're looking forward to PM Express later at 9 p.m.
Yes, we are. Dr. Ishmael Yamson is my guest. You know, actually, he's also called Dr. Evans.
Yeah, I saw it this afternoon. I'm like, was there a mistake in the name?
No. So he is
Ishmael
on PM
Evans
Express. We're talking
Yamson.
about the leadership we have versus the leadership we need. Very interesting things he's been saying, and I've seen that a lot of you are sharing it on social media already. Just listen to the full context of the things he said and why he said so at 9 p.m.
on the Joy News channel. But now we have the Geek Squad. The chief geek herself is here. How do you call her again?
Have.
Hi, Emma. Hi, Emefa. Good evening to you.
What are we talking about tonight?
Today we are looking at tech in the classroom. Our laptops, tablets, tech devices, and necessity for our children. We want to get into more details of that. Some parents have been asking, do I even need to get a tablet for my child or not? When is the best time? We'll be getting into more discussions on this today.
We can't wait. Evans needs it. I need it too.
All right. Definitely
We'll be
do.
listening.
Definitely do. Anyway, stay.